Hi guys, today we are going to be building an invoice application within Excel. And I mean, whilst you could pay for an application like this, I think something like an invoice app is very simple to do, particularly if you're into a very small business or something, then you don't want to spend money on some of these things. Yes, so that's what this video is about. The things I cover in this video will range from tables and ranges. We'll look at how to insert images into cells. We'll also look at VLOOKUP function, and then look at how to generate automatic dates within Excel. Something we'll also cover is automatic row numbering. So you have like 1, 2, 3, and you don't have to do that input on your own. The next thing we are going to learn is how to perform a custom number formatting. All right, and the very last piece of the puzzle is how to print the invoice once you are done. So basically, you will learn to do this kind of invoice. So where, let's say, I select product 10 and the price automatically changes. All right, so let's dive in. Okay, so I'm starting from a blank worksheet, as you can see here, but then I've already prepared my product list, which is a table. I would talk more about that later. And then a few times in building some of these applications, I prefer you have a back end, okay, for basic calculations or storing certain variables, okay. And then we'll look at VLOOKUP properly when we come to this sheet. We'll first build the actual invoice, and then we'll look at things like the logo, adding colors and things like that, okay. So that's going to be the procedure. So I think we can select somewhere, let's say cell 13, so we can do our item number for the numbering. Okay, then description of the product, the quantity the person is buying, and I think we also need a unit price, and then line total. So the first thing is that let's number this 1, 2, 3, 4. Later on, we'll look at how to make this numbering dynamic so that in case someone is set, let's say, a cell like this, it will still read 1, 2, 3. All right, so we'll come back to that. So undo. So I just needed this to give us a framework for what we are building. And then we'll look at something like, let's say, product 1, product 2. Okay, so let's leave it as this. Let's make this bold. And then let's throw in a few more lines. So let's decide which number is ideal. So let's say that you don't really do a lot of products. So you have 10 products, or it's not likely a customer would request for as many as 10 products. So we can limit ourselves to, let's say, about 15 lines. So let me do that. So 15 lines. Okay, so let's deal with this. The first thing I want us to do is to be able to, instead of typing the product in, we want to search for or validate the product. So what I want us to do here is, first of all, it should not be possible for someone to type in a product that doesn't exist in this list. So let's say if I type product 24, then it should throw me an error. Okay, so that you limit entry errors. So let's clear this, select everything here. All right, then let's come to data. Under data tools, we go to data validation, and then want to select a list. All right, so which list do we want? So source, and then we go to the product table, and then we want to select from this list. All right, so press enter, click OK. Now it's giving me a drop down for all the cells, so I can select the product. So let's say product 1, or I could type, let's say, product 6. So if I type something like product 24, then it's going to tell me this value doesn't match the data validation restrictions defined for this cell, and that is going to limit entry errors by anyone you share the file with. So that's the first step. Now, speaking of tables, you notice that when we did the data validation, let's go back. we have this fixed list, and it's using a fixed range A3 to A22. So we have this fixed list. Now, what is going to happen is, if someone, let's say, added product, let's say product 21 to this list and has a price of, let's say, 10, then if we come back to this sheet and we try to select product 21, then we don't have access to that. And even if we enter this, it doesn't work. So doing data validation like this is not the best way to go about it. There's a better way. So instead, we come back to our table, and then I'm going to select this entire range. Okay. Then I come to the formulas tab, then look for name manager. So with that selected, I'm going to click on new, and then I'll give this particular range within the table a name. So let's call this column underscore products. All right. And I do column so that in the name manager, I know that I'm not dealing with a table, but I'm dealing with a specific column within the table. So that's the reason for the call prefix. Now the scope, I want this to be accessed within the entire workbook. So I'll leave it as such. And then this refers to the table called product list and then the product column. All right. So click on OK, close. Now let's test this out. Let's say equals call products, and then it gives me the same list. So that's the trick we are going to use. So Control Z, let me come back, and then let's change the data validation rule. So back to the data tab, data validation, and then still we are going to select a list. And then instead of having this fixed item that doesn't automatically update when we add a new product, we are going to do call underscore products. So now 21 becomes available. And then if you go add, say, product 24, and then with the price of 12, if we come back to the sheet, then we have access to product 24. All right. So that is a better way to do data validation. Whilst we are here, let me rename this sheet. So I'll call this invoice. Okay. So the next thing we are going to do is we just put in some dummy quantity. So let me do this as 600. I'll put this as 1,000 units. I'll do this another 1,000 units. Let's say this is 800. All right. And then the unit price. So let's say I have a price list and I decide to be looking at that price list anytime I make an invoice. Then what's going to happen in practice is that if I type product 1, then I'm supposed to key in, let's say, the actual price for product 1, which is 87.36. 87.36. But doing this kind of thing is always error prone, because if someone enters 87.35 because they were tired, then the invoice total is going to be wrong. So the better approach is to use the VLOOKUP. Okay, so the VLOOKUP is going to look at the product we have here and then give you the corresponding price. So if I pick product 2, then it's going to return 65.34. So that is what VLOOKUP is about. So if you look here, let me type VLOOKUP. Now you see lookup value. So the lookup value is what my search term is. So in terms of search term, I'm looking for product 1. So that becomes my search term. And then let me type it again. And then the next one is the table array. So which table has my result? Okay. And that is our product list. So our product list has the price. So that becomes the table array if you look at this second argument. And then the column index. Now within this product list table, which column has the price I'm looking for? Is it column 1 or column 2? All right. So that becomes column 2. So I'm looking at, so basically VLOOKUP is, I'm looking for this name within this table, and then I'm returning the second column to give me the match. All right. So let's try that out. So we say unit price equals VLOOKUP, and the value we are searching for, our search term is product 1. Put a comma, then asking us the table array. So where is our result? It's in the product list table. So I could type tbl underscore product list, or I could just come here and then select this entire range, and you see it gives me tbl product list. That is the name of my table. If you don't rename your table, then you might see table 1. All right, and the way to rename a table is, first of all, it should be a table. So if you select anywhere within the range and you have not seen, or if you don't see table design, then it means that it is just a normal range. So what you have to do in your case is to hit Control and then T. So let me copy this and demonstrate. So all right, so this is just a normal range. So when I select this, you don't see any table design up here. So I'll select anywhere within this range. So I can do this, and then Control T, and it's going to ask me if the table has headers. In this case, it does not. So I will just uncheck this and then click OK. All right, and now this is an actual table. So you see it has a table design. Let me clear this. So to rename this table, I select anywhere within the table, come to table design, and then under table name right here, you can call it whatever you want. So let's say table test. Okay, and then if I should reference table test anywhere, it's going to give me the same range. All right, so make sure you have that done. I'll clear this and clear this. Okay, so let's continue with our VLOOKUP function. So we look at VLOOKUP. The lookup value is the product. Then the table we said was table product list. So that's the name I gave it in the name manager. And then when it comes to the column index, where is our price in the product table? So our price was in column 2. So the column index is 2. Now this last argument, which is the range lookup, is optional because it is in square brackets. But you always, or let me say 9 times out of 10, you do an exact match, so that you're not looking for, let's say, so if you're looking for product 1, then the whole text in the price table or in the product table has to match the exact name product 1. So we'll choose false, and then we close the bracket. So let's see what it gives us. So it gives us 87.36. Product 1, 87.36. So let's try for product 2, which is 65.34. So let's change this to product 2, and the price automatically updates. So the only thing we need to do now is to drag this formula downward like so. Okay, now it's giving us any, which is something I don't want to see. So I think we should handle that now. So in Excel, that is error handling. So we are going to wrap this whole function around another function called the IFERROR function, so that if I get an error for any calculation, I'm basically saying that let me hide that particular one. All right. So let's say, let me give some space and then come back. If error tab. So what is the value? So it's asking me what is the original value I had in mind. The original value is this calculation. All right. So I bring it to the end and then do the comma on the keyboard. Now it's asking value if error. So if there's an error, for this case, I don't want to show anything because it's giving an error in the first place because it's trying to do a multiplication of a quantity that doesn't exist in this cell multiplied by the price. Okay, so I mean, we don't want that calculation to even happen in the first place, or we don't want to see that. So I'll just do let's say return X, and let's see. Okay, so anytime there's an error, it's going to show X, but I don't want to show X. I want to show nothing. So I'll just clear X, press enter, and then drag down. Okay, so let's select product 2. Let's see. Okay, so the only time I see a unit price is if I have a product selected. Otherwise, the if error is going to handle that error for me, so that I don't even see the price in the first place or any form of calculation. All right, which is perfect. Now, the next thing we need to tackle is the line total, which is a very simple Excel calculation. We're going to do the quantity multiplied by the price, and I will drag that down as well. Okay, so I'm having a similar issue here. It's giving me error because it's trying to multiply nothing by nothing, which is not done right. Yeah. So what I'm going to do here is the same principle. I'm going to handle the error. So if error tab. So if error, it's asking me for the value. So the value is the calculation I wanted to do initially. Then comma. Then it's asking me value if error. I don't want to show anything. So two quotes and then close it. So that's going to give me this. Okay, which I think is perfect. And I think I should drag this up so that the same formula applies to the entire column. Up until this point, we've looked at VLOOKUP. We've also looked at how to handle errors within Excel. All right, so at this point, what I want to do is you want to have an automatic calculation for the row so that if, let's say, someone has to enter a product here, they don't have to manually type in 16. The system should be able to give them that number. All right, so the way to do that is, let me clear all of this first. So there's this function called the row function. And so the row function as is equals row, and then you close the bracket because the only argument it takes is optional. So we don't have to put anything there. So let's see, row, and it returns row 14. So if we did, let's say, look at row here, it's going to return the current row, which is 18. So if you wrote the same function here, I'm sure you guessed correctly, it's going to return 32. So that's how it works. But we want it to start numbering from 1. So we want to offset the value. And I think the easiest way to do this is, instead of referencing the current, what do you call it? The current cell. Because if you don't give it a reference, the default reference is the current row. All right, so I'll do equals, and then I want to start from cell A1. All right, so if I did cell A1, then the row number of cell A1 is obviously 1. So it's going to give me 1. And then if I drag downward, it's going to give me whichever number I want. I think we did up to 15, so let's maintain that. Now, the next thing we want to do is, we only want to show this number if the person has entered a product here. So let me demonstrate. The way I'm thinking about it is, if there's a product entered here, that is the only time the number should show. And the way to approach it is, we can use the length function. So let's look at how the length function works. So we say len of this is 9. Let's drag down. So if we did a count, you would see 1. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 9 characters, including the space. Now the length of this is 0. All right. And so what we want to do is, we will wrap this function in another function. So what we want to say is that if, okay, in fact, let me get rid of this to make it easier to write. So you're going to say, if the length of this right here, of that cell, is greater than 0. So if this condition is true, what do we want to do? That is when we want to show the calculation. So row A1. Okay, so we want to look at the cell reference, or want to basically return the row number for cell A1. Okay. And then if the value is false, okay, if it is either equal to 0 or less than 0, for some reason, then we want to return nothing for that. So let's see. So this works, and it's going to work for this. But the moment we get into this region, it clears off, because at this point the length of this is obviously 0. Okay, since it is 0, then the function is saying that if the length of that particular cell is less than or equal to 0, okay, that is the reverse logic, less than or equal to 0, then we want to fulfill this part of the function. So that is the way to look at it. So let's test it. So let's select product, let's say 10, and that is when this one will also show up. So let's clear this one. So I think it's shaping up nicely. At this point, let's make a few tweaks. The unit price, I think, should be, so let me select products first off from here so that I get a sense of where my number 15 is. Okay, so we want to select this entire thing, and then we want to convert that into like 2 decimal places. So we'll select increase decimal place here. So we want to do 2, so decrease. Okay, so this is one way to do it. There are other ways, and then we also want to make this side 2 decimal places. So 2 decimal places. This is 3. Let's go back. So that is 2 decimal places, and I think I prefer the comma separator because it's an amount. So look at doing something like this. Okay, so once we click on this comma symbol, it converts it into a number type, where in Excel they call it accounting. All right, but this time I've not set any unit, so you wouldn't see any unit for this entry or for this calculation. So let's get rid of all of these. Let's make a few changes. Maybe I think I'll choose, in fact, let me still select other products. Okay, so product 1, let's choose product 1 throughout. Okay, 13, 14, 15. Okay, I think I ended right here. Okay, so now that we have the line totals, okay, we want to be able to sum this column up, and so let's write let's say subtotal here, and then we can do equals sum, and then want to sum this entire column. All right, so right up to here. Okay, so it's giving us that value. So if we, let's say, added quantities for this, then the price is going to automatically update, which is nice. Now the next thing is we want to have a discount cell, so that if, let's say, the customer wants a discount of, let's say, 10%, then of course we can always apply that discount, or if they said 5%, then it applies that discount to the total value. All right, there are other ways to look at it, where I could put, let's say, a discount column here, and then we give a line discount. I wouldn't do that in this tutorial, but you get the point. So let's say discount, and for the discount we are going to say, let's put a default value of, let's say, 10%. All right, so the actual total, so our actual total will now become our subtotal, okay, multiplied by, all right, so we want to say 100 minus 10. Okay, that's the calculation. So 100% is 1 if you convert it, so it's 1, so that will become 1 minus this right here, and 10% is, in fraction, it's 0.1, right? Yeah, 0.1. Yeah, so let's look at it. Okay, so if we change the discount to, let's say, 50%, then this is going to be exactly half of the price here. And if we change it to, let's say, 90%, then it's going to be just like 10%. So it means that we are selling the product at 10% of the original cost. So that kind of calculation. So let's send it back to 10%. Let me expand this a bit. Okay. Now we have the main framework of the Invoice app. And what we are going to do next is to sort of beautify it to make it look like this. So the first thing I would do is to hide these lines. I just hate them. I don't know why. All right, so let's come to view, and then we want to hide the grid lines. Then let's insert our logo. So insert pictures. We want to place over the cell, not within the cell. So place over cell. This device, I think I would want this size. Okay, this is huge. It's quite huge, and I could actually drag this way, which will take me several iterations to do that. Let me do undo so that we look at a better approach. Now, what I don't want you to do is to select like the sites. Okay, so let's say you select from the side and you start to drag. Like, don't do that because it always changes the aspect ratio. So you see people do, let's say, presentations, and then the images are like this or extended like this, and none of these are good. It doesn't look good on you. Stop it. So undo, 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 undo. Okay, so this is our original. Now a better way for me to resize this, there's this size under the picture format. Okay, so once the picture is selected, you see picture format, then you can just select one of them, and it's keeping the aspect ratio. So if you resize this, it's going to resize the other dimension. So all right, and I think I have too much white space, so I want to crop that. So I'll select this crop feature, and then make sure you have this black icon like a pistol. All right, so you press and hold on the keyboard and you drag down. Let's drag this way and then this way. Press enter on the keyboard, and then maybe I can position it right here. I think it's not bad. Okay, that's looks okay. Now the next thing is if your company has a tagline, then you obviously want to put that somewhere. All right, and I'll probably stretch this a bit so that I don't have too many cells taken up by just an image. All right, so I think the first two are fine. I'll leave this third one and then put my tagline in this fourth row. So let's say the tagline is it's in the numbers. All right, and I want to stretch this a bit, so let me select this and maybe cell B, maybe C. Let me add C just in case your tagline is longer. So I can merge and center, or instead just merge across. All right, and I think I want this to be like in the middle, so this way, that's so that it's in between. So even if I stretch this, it will still be in the middle like that. All right, and then in cell 7 I want to say, let's say, customer details. Instead of that, let me just copy this. Okay, that's fine. So customer details, I want to stretch that a bit too, so maybe up to D for this one. I mean, play around and see what works. So I would also merge across and then center that. Okay, then let's say this customer is called Awesome Ventures, and I think I want to use the same length, so up to D, and I'll merge across. Let's give this a background color just to separate it like visually, just a bit. So I can use either this or this. I think I want to use this, and then bolding the text. So the customer is called Awesome Ventures. Maybe we also want to view who the salesperson is and all of that. All right, so I'll leave a bit of space. So let me set a few cells. So let me see. And then insert. Okay. So let's see, salesperson. We can do, so salesperson. I don't think the person's name would go into this one cell. So maybe I'll do A and B for salesperson. Okay, so let me merge across. And then the next one can be the shipping method. I would also combine C and D for that. Merge across. Then shipping terms will take E and F. So let me copy this. I'll do shipping terms. Copy this over. I might do payment terms. I'll do due date for the next two payment terms. No. So let me copy this over. Okay, that was right. So payment terms. Then the next is due date, and then we're looking at delivery date. Okay. I think I want to apply the color here. So let me select this entire thing. Select the color, bold in it. Maybe let me give another space. So insert an empty space, and then we could look at the same thing. All right, so let's see this and this. Let's border around them, and I want to merge. So merge across. I also want to merge across, merge across, merge across again. I'm not sure if there's any shortcut for this. I've never checked. Maybe I'll check after this video. Merge across and then merge across. Okay, so let's say the salesperson is Seth Ofori. Shipping method, I'm not sure. Let's leave those ones blank for now. All right, so customer details, maybe something that I also want to have there will be ship to, if different from customer's address. Like I think they do things like that. So let me just write that. I mean, these things are basically aesthetics, all right? Or let me see, we have invoice standards. So of course you would want to do what is best practice. So ship to if different, bracket close. Okay, and I think I want to merge this maybe to column 11. So merge across, change the color, bold in it, maybe right in the middle. I guess I didn't do the same thing for this. Right in the middle, just in case I decide to expand this a bit, at least we have that visual alignment. It just helps. Okay, and I think we can put our date here. All right, so maybe the date, I'll choose 2 columns, because I doubt, based on the format of your date, if it's the long time, let's say September 21st 2024, then obviously that is too long for this small cell. So just to make room for that, I would merge these 2 cells. All right, so merge cells or merge across. And if you wanted to enter today's date, all right, then you could just do control and then the colon on your keyboard, and that will give you today's date. So if you do that anywhere, it's going to give you, so shortcut is control colon for the current date. Now if I didn't want this, but let's say I want the date to automatically be the day I'm making the entry, then we could do equals today. Okay, and that will still give me today's date. And then let's format this a bit so that it reads the full date, because 9/14, if it's in US, I know the format is different from the UK. So just to avoid ambiguity, I'll do control 1 on the keyboard. That's the shortcut for this format cells dialog box. And then whilst there, I'll go to, I think I prefer custom, and then let's set a custom date format. All right, so I want the day, I want the month in, I think 3 letters, so not so mmm. Okay, so as I'm typing that in, you can see it updates here, and then the year, I want the full year, so y. Okay, I think even 3 works. Yeah. So okay, so 14 September 2024, no ambiguity. And then we also have validity period. So normally an invoice will come with a period for which it is valid. So maybe we can put like 14 days here. So let's do K and L. Let's also merge across. All right, so you can say 14 days. And I don't like the alignment of this, so maybe I would align both of them to the left. So under home alignment, we select align left. Okay, I prefer this. And then I would put a border around this and a border around this. Okay. I think I said validity period. Now it's taking space down and I want it to be across. So let me merge this as well. So merge across. Okay. And then maybe let me do the middle alignment. So this way. Okay, I think it's coming together little by little. We can put pro forma invoice or invoice, whichever one. Let's say invoice here, and let me make it a little bigger. So let's change the font size. Let's see. I think this is okay. It's hidden. This is basically hidden, and I don't like the way it is. So instead of merging this time, we'll do something slightly different. Okay, just to give you different perspectives to the same thing. So we want it to fill up from, let's say, L, K, and J. So how do we do that? Let's select this. So you do Control 1 on the keyboard. Then I think usually it's under General, all right, or you have General selected. So you want to change that to right indent. So right indent, and that's also going to show all the text without necessarily merging the cells. All right, so that's also an option. So maybe let's do pro forma invoice. Pro forma invoice. Let's change the font color to this. I think this is okay. And then we can bold in the text. And then I want to format the background of this text. It's in the numbers, bold, maybe italics if you wish. That's Control I. Yeah. Now coming back to the invoice, you notice that everything I've done here now has stretched a bit, and yet the invoice is like half of my page. Okay, so we need to work around that a bit. So I'll merge a few cells. All right, so let's see how we do that. So I think this item number, because it's just a number, it's fine. I would probably align this to the middle. And then for the numbers, not left align, not right align, not middle align, I'll just give, what do you call it, like an indent. So an indent like this will do. So right indent. Okay, that's fine. So right indent. Okay. Or in fact, let me just middle align. I think that will not be bad. Okay. For the description, in your case, you may have like very long description. So I want to make room for that. So we may want to stretch the description part a bit. So let's see. I think we'll do from B to H. So from B all the way to H. All right. So that means for now, let me select all of this and then move. So the way to move the cell is once I hover over the selection, and then I have this 4 crosses, like I have this cross with 4 arrows. Left click on that and then you drag it. So I'll drag it to I. All right, so that I have all this space for the description. And instead of doing it one by one, I'll select the entire section. And then under alignment, I want to do merge across. Okay, so that way, like product 2 takes that entire space. Okay, cool. And let's just add a bit of formatting here. The background color, unit price, line total. I think I would align these in the middle. Okay, I think quantity, let me also align that in the center. Unit price, I'll align just the header in the middle. All right, then for the line total, let me just stretch this to cover up to L, because anyways, like this would be here and it wouldn't look nice like having this kind of visual distortion. Like that's how I'm thinking about it. So I would select all of this and merge across. Yep, and then maybe this in the middle will be fine. Let me reduce this a bit. Okay, so that means I would have to now carry all of these to the other side. So the same way I drag, maybe let me start from here. So I have my subtotal under unit. So let me drag once again, subtotal. And then let me also drag like this, just to give some form of alignment. So I'll select this entire space and then merge across. Okay, that looks fine. Now I want to add like a border just to have a visual separation between this actual like invoicing section and then the rest of the page. So I come to home and then I select under borders, I choose all borders. And if the black is fine for you, that's fine. But if you don't want the black, then you can select the downward arrow and then go to more borders. And then let's say if you wanted, if you wanted the same color as our main color, maybe this, then you first select the color and then you choose the size of the line. I think this right here is fine. And then we can select the outlines. So we select this. You see the outline is now green and that's outside. Then we select inside. It's also now green. Then we can apply. Okay. So that's something you may want to do if that's what you want, in case you don't want the black color. That looks fine. So we have our subtotal. We have our total. I think this is also fine. Maybe let's put the currency here. All right. So let's select this and this. So I first made a selection of this one and then holding the control key, or if you're on a Mac, command key, I also left click on this and then control 1 to bring up this format cells dialog box. Go to number and then you can select, let's say, currency. All right. So let's say GHC. I think you should search, yes, GHC, which is for Ghana cedis. If it's the dollar you want, fine. You can do, let's say, USD. But then sometimes you face, let's try USD. Okay. Now, sometimes you face a situation where the way you want to enter your currency is not actually in Excel, or you want to put like something different. So the way to approach it is still, let's do control 1 with the selection there. And then we come to custom. Now you see all of this. All right. I don't think I want that. So let's select general. Let me see what is there. Okay, general. Let's put in a comma, which will give us that standard number format. Now let's go back to control 1. Then under custom, you see, so this is like the form of code in a way behind the formatting. Now we just want to do a little addition. So we want to add the whichever currency we want. So let's say that GHY, let's say Ghanaian yen, for example. That's silly, but let's just try that. So GHY. All right. So you want to do this quotation GHY, and then we close the quotation, and that is going to put like something custom in front of whichever code we have there. So let me do space just to give more like space, of course. So okay, and that's it. So whichever unit or whichever currency you want to put there, this is the workaround. All right. The next thing is that, in fact, we are getting very close to the end. All right. So just stay tuned. A few tricks or a few tweaks here and there. So let me clear all of this, and then you realize that the numbers are gone. There's no price. Everything looks neat and tidy. So let's add a special notes section right here. So let's say this area, we want to use that for, let's say, any special notes relating to the invoice. All right. So I think let me merge across. Let me select this first part, change the background color, and then I would say special notes and instructions, and then I can select all of this. I think that's fine. Let me see. Yes, I can select all of this, and then this time I'll merge cells, so all of that will become a single cell. So let's see. So merge cells. So if I start typing in here, or if I select anything here and I change, let's say the color, you realize it's doing that for the entire selection. All right. So you can put any notes for the customer goes here. Oops. Here are indeed. And maybe it will make sense to just have a border around it. So border, okay. Oops, that didn't do anything. So border, you want to have outside borders this time. Okay, that's good. And then for the next text, we want to like merge across. All right, so let's select a few cells, merge across, and then here I want to say make all checks payable to. Then you can have whichever thing you want to have there. Okay, and then we can say thank you for your business, and then should you have any inquiries, I hope the spelling is correct. Inquiries. Yes, inquiries concerning this invoice, please contact us on +233 111 111 something. All right, I think that is all right. And maybe you want to provide a space for signature. So let's select up to this point. Let's also merge across, and then we can put, what do you call it, a border, but this time just the lower border, so that it creates like some form of line. So bottom border. Yep. And that's it. So let's test out our new application. So let's say there's nothing here. Oh, okay. So good. Reason to test when you do any sort of development. I have these any's that I didn't take care of initially. So let's drag this up. Okay. And let's see. Okay, the IFERRORs handled. No quantity. All right. So let's say I want product 1, quantity, let's say 10, and then we have that's automatically populated. Let's say this time product 3, 5, it's automatically populated. If there's no discount, we can just put 0. And maybe one thing we can do is if the discount is 0, then we don't want to show like the discount. All right, because I mean there are several reasons to like you want to do this. All right, so let's see. We can say equals if this. All right, okay, but let me start again. So let me clear this one. So we can say equals if this discount part is less than or equal to 0, just to cater for any possibility of a negative discount. I'm not sure how that's going to happen, but just to cater for that. So less than or equal to 0. Then we want to show nothing. Okay, but if it is not, then we want to show the terms discount. Okay, so if it is 0, then we don't want to show that. But if it's, let's say 5%, then the discount shows. We could also have a conditional formatting for this, and I mean it is your application, so you know that something ideally is supposed to go here. Because like once someone sees that there's 0%, then they'll start wondering, oh, why didn't you give me a discount? So if you don't want to have that kind of conversation, then let's do a conditional format. Okay, and manage cell rules. Let's add a new rule. Okay, and say that let's do format only values above or below certain average cells that contain. So if the cell value is less than or equal to 0, we format and then the color I want to set it to white, so that's like technically white on white, you don't see anything. So okay, apply. Okay, did nothing. Let's check why. So we want to manage the rules. Okay, yes, it makes sense. So let's change it to 0. Okay, very good. So if it's 0, then nothing shows. You have no conversation with the customer. Yeah. If I put, let's say 5 here, then it shows. So maybe something that would make sense is we could just put an arrow somewhere, just to give a cue that whoever is making the entry can enter a discount in the next cell. Okay, so I could do insert an arrow. So let's do the Windows key and then the full stop key, and I want to look for an arrow. Left arrow will do. All right, cool. Oops, I just need one. Okay, and then enter discount in cell. This is cell L38. So cell L38 if applicable. And then let me stretch this a bit. Okay, so let's merge across. Let's merge across. All right. So merge across. Okay. Maybe want to like indent it to the left. So this way. Okay. So enter discount if applicable. I think this is too wide. Yep. Okay. So you may be wondering, won't this show in the printout? No, it wouldn't show, because when we select the print area, we are going to select just this. So this part does not show to the customer. All right. So let me show you what I mean whilst we are on this printing issue. So I think we have like a fully set invoice. If this space is too big, we can get rid of some of the cells. you right click and then you delete. Okay, so let's select this area and then Control P to print. Now I have 5 pages and that's not quite what I was expecting. I just need 1 page, so escape. You see these lines right here, so like these lines right across here. Okay, those lines. It's showing you the page divisions. So to handle that, you go to the bottom of the Excel application and oops, let me select this. All right, so you go to the bottom of the Excel application, then you select this third option, which is for page break view, and you can see that part of it is on page 1, another part is on page 2, like things like that. It's a bit messed up if you would put it that way. All right, so the way to go about it is I would hover the mouse over. Once I see this double-sided arrow, left click on the mouse and hold, and then I'll drag to the right to where I want it to end. So I want it to end right here. If I bring it here, then it means the customer is able to read the arrow and the enter discount. We don't want that. So right here, I think it's fine. And this becomes page 2, which I mean fast forwarding show. So let's go back to the normal view and then let's select the from column A to column L, and then let's do Control P. Now we have just 2 pages. We don't want the second page to show. So we select or we just do pages and then we select page 1 to 1. That's it. So if let's say we save this to PDF, so Microsoft Print to PDF is fine. Print to PDF. Let's choose desktop. Then let's name this file so let's say the customer was called Awesome Ventures Invoice. Okay, and then save. Now let's go to desktop, and that's it. Awesome Ventures Invoice. Let's open that. Okay, this doesn't look bad. So we have just 1 page like we expected. Thanks for watching up to this point, and if you got value from this video, definitely hit the subscribe button and also share the video with maybe your HR or your anyone you think would benefit from something like this. And there's more content on this coming out, so stay tuned. And if you have any specific requests, let me know so that I'll do like a full tutorial on it for you. So stay tuned.